Are you right now living in a place of confusion? You're losing your sense of identity. You are losing your grounding, not knowing where to orient your life towards anymore. And you're just sort of feeling like you're just sitting and waiting for something to happen, or maybe you just have no idea what direction to go. And it's leaving you in chaos, leaving you in a nihilistic state of mind, and you're wondering how you can get out of this. And I want to share with you a couple things today that hopefully can get you to ignite that momentum and inspiration to get you to reinterpret this moment and to see it for what it really is, a wonderful opportunity. If you want to be a part of my private group, you go ahead and click the button below. It'll send you over to my website, and you go ahead and input your information, and you'll be part of my monthly newsletter. And in return, I will be sending you my 3-step identity rebuilding guide as a thank you from me to you. So if you're a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. This moment right now, where you're feeling this confusion, where you're feeling this sense of nihilism, loss of identity in a way, is actually going to be a wonderful moment for you. A wonderful opportunity. But why is that? If there is a period in your life that you felt this shakiness, that is a signal that the stories you've been living by are starting to run out. They're starting to run thin. Meaning, it is giving you an opportunity to reimagine and reinterpret this moment, your stories. You see, our lives are controlled by stories. Stories that incorporate words and images and feelings that sit below the unconscious, forming into a complex and often derived from a traumatic event. And just so you guys know, I've built out a trauma map where I build it into 3 categories with 3 subcategories in each one. So the 3 categories are you have low, moderate, and extreme state of trauma. And the way I level these degrees is by arousal state, fight or flight state. And within each subcategory, you have one-off, occasional, and consistent. And so what does that mean? So essentially what that means is, let's imagine that you're in the low, consistent on the trauma map. Your parents didn't say they loved you. Wouldn't it be a traumatic event for you? But if done consistently, by them not saying it for years and years and years and years, then what's going to end up happening, it's going to leave you starving for something. It's going to leave you itching for something. And then your internal mechanism is going to want to balance itself out. And so maybe you start getting cravings for chocolate. Maybe you get cravings for attention. Maybe you find yourself always giving and giving to certain people in hopes that they return love to you. And you find yourself draining and you're just exhausted and fatigued. When we carry out these stories for long enough times, for years and years, at some point, there's going to be something within you that just says, I cannot do this anymore. I'm tired of playing this performer, this persona. And then it's not directly saying it. Oftentimes we hear the calling, but oftentimes it's just this symptom we feel, the symptom of fatigue, exhaustion, just feeling tired all the time. Just feeling like you don't want to go anywhere, do anything. You don't even know how to identify yourself with. But that leaves it shaky, allowing you to actually go in, let go, integrate, and reinterpret the story to change it in a direction that is now going to better serve you. But how do we do that? Because once we start to understand, one thing to note on the trauma map, the higher you go in the arousal state of fight or flight or freeze. So let's say you're in the extreme, even one-off, occasional, consistent, doesn't matter. Obviously, right now, if you're in that state, there are certain things, if we try to face inward into our shadow, we're not going to be able to do that currently. We need to be able to, when we get into that state of craziness, the state of frantic behavior, where we lose control, lose our emotions. We have to learn how to bring ourselves back to a sweet zone where we can actually take in information and listen to our own voice that says, it's okay, nothing's happening currently, we can actually work through this. But if we're in too high of a state, we can't do that. So we need to practice getting back into that sweet zone through breathing, through calming exercises, through meditation. But the main thing I wanted to talk about today was, how do we even tackle this sort of thing? Well, you want to imagine it as, you look at yourself as someone who is curious, adventurous, compassionate, loving, and a firm hand. And if you were to give yourself this opportunity, if you were to face yourself and converse with yourself, ask yourself deeper questions, you wouldn't want to be judgmental. You wouldn't want to be offensive and aggressive, because then that's just going to lock you up. It's going to tighten you up. It's going to make you not want to look at it. So the first thing is having the right state of mind when it comes to tackling your inward world, your universe. So that's number one. Number two, once you start to tackle it, you want to understand where the story came from and what connections does it have in the real world right now. Where does it come up? What context gets you triggered with it? And once you start to get familiar and you can understand its pattern, it first will lose its grip over you just a little bit. But then comes the process of letting go of certain stories, because, certain moments, certain situations that have caused us to act in certain ways were there for a reason. Maybe it helped us. Maybe us avoiding relationships with people, it allowed us to go through a period of time where we were maybe highly sensitive to things, and we felt like if we got entangled with other people, it's going to cause a lot of drama, a lot of stress. And so we said, you know what, we're gonna back away from that for a little while. And maybe that helped you. But at some point, if we do not look back at it and review it and say, you know what, I think it's time I let this story go, then we're going to get stuck in that for a very, very long time. But the good news is it can always change. And so when you first evaluate, look inward, with curiosity, adventure, compassion, love, and a firm hand. Observe. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Why has this been stuck in my life for so long? How has it served me? And once you can get your grip around it and understand it, you can thank it for what it did for you and decide to let it go. It's not, don't compartmentalize it. You can have all these three blend together. So you can either let some things go, integrate other things. Maybe it brought you a lot of patience. Maybe it brought you a lot of foresight. It's not always negative. There are things within it that brings you power, brings you some kind of skill, something you value about yourself. So we want to integrate that, bring that in. And then using this to reimagine your story moving forward. You have the wisdom of what you've done, but now the action to actually move forward and decide, today I'm going to do this. For the next year, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work towards changing my narrative. And I want to preface this by saying this takes time. This is not something fast. Anyone that I work with all my clients, these things need to be done with grace, with patience, and compassion. The more you rush it, the more you try to pressure it, it's not going to work. The warrior archetype of discipline and being loyal to the ideal and detaching from emotion has its place in some areas. But in other areas, you have to bring in the lover archetype. The archetype that says, be compassionate, feel the moment, experience it, be compassionate to yourself, and allow yourself the space. And when you get this balance right, you will have consistent progress rather than this feeling of you get a spike of excitement and motivation and you work on yourself and then you hit a couple obstacles, and because they're not being worked on so quickly, they're not changing quickly, it dips back down, often below baseline, below where you were before. And so if you want to avoid those kind of spikes, always maintain this steady burn throughout. That's why I call it my ego and soul integration lifestyle. A lifestyle is something you just have throughout your day. You just do it throughout your day, throughout the weeks, throughout the months and years. It's not something you want to pressure yourself into doing all the time. Even if you do it once per day, an exercise that moves you towards that reality once per day, you're already doing a fantastic job. And so I wanted this video to be just a call that says, this is an opportunity. This is a wonderful moment to be in. When it's shaky, you can then actually tackle it versus when it's solidified and you identify with it, it's really tough. You got to first get it to separate from you. But this moment is already starting to separate. It's loose. So you can tackle it and you can take care of it. If this resonated with you and you want to get more information on these sort of topics and you want to be a part of a community that is focused on ego, soul, integration, lifestyle, and rebuilding purpose back into their life, rediscovering who they truly are, click that button below and you'll head over to my website where you can sign up to my monthly newsletter and I will gift you my 3-step identity rebuilding guide as a thank you. This is a community I deeply wished I had when I went through my period of identity loss. So I am extremely excited and passionate to share this with you. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the next video.